You're an aspiring emperor with massive shoes to fill, big guns, big money, and even bigger aspirations. Now, stop imagining and learn about the KAG Imperium, which laid claim to the largest empire ever known. They had the biggest ships, the biggest guns, and a new emperor with unlimited power. After the death of his father, Primus Randus the Eager ascended to the throne. From there, he began a relentless campaign of war against much of the known galaxy, and he won with every step. The ancients of Sagittarius, the wise of Norma, and the mighty of Persis all had formidable fleets, but when faced with the fury of a KAG battlecruiser, they surrendered to avoid catastrophic losses. When a small and disjointed union of systems within Orion was encountered, the Council of Emperor Randus wasn't even called. Small strike groups were dispatched to subdue the mere hundreds of worlds controlled by, you guessed it, humans. Before I get ahead of myself, let me explain how warfare commonly unfolded within the Milky Way. Opposing fleets would meet each other on the battlefield, lining up in an honorable display of might. The fleets would approach in broadside formation, firing the full fury of their arsenals while still within visual range. This form of combat was designed to minimize the unpredictable casualties of stellar warfare and limit collateral damage. Battles typically lasted for only hours, and wars spanned mere days. It was often seen as cheaper to become a vassal to a superior force than to lose expensive dreadnoughts. Fleets would battle until one side was placed at an obvious disadvantage. The losing fleet would surrender and retreat for repairs. This process repeated until the winning fleet reached a major system, from which the losing fleet could no longer retreat, leading to a full surrender and the end of hostilities. Now, these tactics weren't used during first contact, but played a critical role in the KAG human war. The galaxy had never seen a war last more than a year, and no doctrine had ever prepared for such a brutal, sustained conflict. The KAG Imperium and its adversaries planned logistics for minor skirmishes, not for the total war humanity was about to unleash. The mentality of most galactic species was simple: strike first, strike fast, and don't get struck. Only those who could adapt to such strategies thrived. But humanity went in an entirely different direction. From the very beginning, it was as if they were built for war. It didn't matter if they struck first or were slow to act. Any species that challenged them was destined to fall. If you struck them, they would strike back with everything they had, giving no regard to casualties, only wishing to crush you in retaliation. When the KAG Imperium attacked humanity, their fate was sealed. Humanity sacrificed every last ship within the system they called Haven to prevent the capture of the planet Bastion. The banner of the United Nations of Man, the freedom-loving humans, fought to the last to prevent their capture, and their sacrifice succeeded, though at a terrible cost. The small subjugation fleet was destroyed in full, but humanity lost over 1 million lives for every ship they managed to destroy. Now, I will play a recording of what is widely regarded as the most influential speech of all time, the Promise of Vengeance speech, delivered by then President Julian Starman of the Free State of Bastion. Asterisk, when we gaze to the stars, humanity has always seen a land of endless opportunity. But after the tragic events of today, only fear and uncertainty remain. When unknown vessels arrived at our Bastion of Liberty, we attempted to greet these aliens with all the hospitality, generosity, and kindness humanity could offer. In return, we received only a torrent of plasma as soon as our diplomats came into visual range. Long-range communications intercepted only these words: "Do you submit?" Our answer was no. Asterisk. Asterisk, their ships began firing from longer distances toward our planet, indiscriminately targeting civilians. Our brave defenders charged their fleet again and again, until all that remained of these aliens were burning heaps of steel. We lost 15,275 citizens, 5,395 of them civilians, while millions remained missing. Even as we fought them in space, their weapons continued bombarding the helpless on the surface. As our ships tore theirs apart, they kept repeating, "Do you submit?" Our response was simple: gunfire, asterisk. Asterisk to anyone who can hear this. Bastion will not submit. Humanity will not submit. Our ships will not submit until every last individual responsible for the deaths of innocent civilians is brought to justice. No matter how long it takes, no matter how many of these aliens stand in our way, justice will be served. Let it be known throughout the cosmos. Humanity will never submit. Asterisk. It took centuries for the full weight of this speech to be realized, but its effects reverberated through the Milky Way for all time. Humanity transformed its loose union of independent planets into a singular entity, focused on the protection of all mankind. The KAG Imperium resisted, of course. Thousands of the mightiest ships in the galaxy rampaged through human space for decades, but they eventually succumbed to death by 1,000 cuts. Humanity could lose billions of lives, thousands of ships, and dozens of systems, yet the resource drain on the Imperium was too great. Rebellion sprang up across its territories, turning its fleets against one another. Internal opposition wreaked havoc on Emperor Randus's ability to maintain control. While the Imperium crumbled, humanity grew stronger. They reverse-engineered KAG technology down to the last atom, and soon, those very technologies were used to destroy the last remnants of the KAG battle groups. Primus Randus the Eager could only watch in terror as the ancients of Sagittarius, the wise of Norma, and the mighty of Perseus, alongside their newfound human allies, charged into his crown system. His once mighty fleets, still bound by their outdated doctrines, were cut down like fields of grass. Randus, now a prisoner, could only sit in shame as a human strike team stormed his palace and dragged him from his throne in chains. As he stood trial for his crimes, he asked the now-aged President Julian Starman, asterisk, why didn't you just submit like all the others? Asterisk, Julian Starman responded, asterisk, submission is the acceptance of defeat. As long as even one human remains alive in this galaxy, our light will never go out. Humanity will never accept defeat, and as long as we remain undefeated, we will never submit. Asterisk, Prisoner Randus, once the eager emperor, spent the rest of his days in a prison orbiting Bastion. Each day, he watched the growing lights on the surface below, slowly coming to terms with the fact that his reign was over and the era of humanity had begun. He was nothing more than a footnote in the history of humanity's ascension to the stars.